Hello there, this is Cindy at cindybdesigns.com. Thank you for joining me today. This is the card that we will be making. You're going to hear me refer to that bow several times. I hate it. I do fix it. We'll get into that more later. And I think it's popping up where I fixed it real quick. Yeah. So this is the new Changing Leaves bundle that's coming out to you on July 3 from our online exclusives group or line of products. And it has that 3D embossing folder. Then you get that really huge die cut where you can emboss your image and die cut it at the same time. And that matches three of the images in the stamp set. Don't let this fool you and think it's for fall only. It's not. Look at the different types of sentiments, the leaves, the textures of the leaves, the die cuts that you get, the standalones. This is year round. Summer, tropical, um, beach, wedding, anything like that. So I'm bringing in They Retired, layering circles. Even though Spotlight on Nature dies replace that, I'll talk more about that later. Another retired item, I think that's called Autumn Leaves or so. It's in the description. That is also another online exclusive product of that burlap ribbon. Another retired punch. It's got the corner rounder staples. We have Cajun Craze markers there with the ink pad with the basic beige and early espresso. And I'm combining two colors I never thought I would of Cajun Craze and Moody Mauve, both of which I really don't like, by the way. But I think it worked out here. I actually made this card before I took the pictures, so I didn't have anything to play off of. So now I'm putting my basic beige landscape cardstock into the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. All you need is that very bottom plate there, and then the top plate, number 4. Put it on through, and then you'll have a beautifully embossed card front. Now again, that's landscape, so it's going to be 5.5 across by 4.25 down, and that is basic beige there. And I think I'm going to bring in the corner rounder, yeah, right about now. And again, that is retired. It's a staple item. I'm going to keep it on board. The same with All About Autumn. That's what that paper's called. So I still had the sponge dauber left over from last week's video. So I thought I would just go ahead and grab that again and take some basic beige ink and dirty up the edges or distress around the outside of the card there. So as I'm doing that, the All About Autumn popped into my head out of the blue real quick. And like I said, that is another retired product, but the bundle carried over. So yeah, I'm keeping the paper, and I've been doing that about the past 9 months or so. So again, I'll have all these measurements over on the blog at cindybdesigns.com, and there will be a link under this YouTube description going directly to that blog post. So I have, yeah, skip intro because I watch TV when I do this. That was pecan pie, and I tore the bottom of it, and then I laid a piece of the All About Autumn Designer Series paper on top of that with a wood green pattern, and I'm doing the same thing with another piece of pecan pie, and that is more about the copper metallic rectangle pattern in there. So I'm pulling in very vanilla regular cardstock, and I'm going to put our sentiment down on that with early espresso ink a couple times. But again, don't worry about the measurements. It'll all be over there, and you can toggle back and forth if you want to do this along with me. So like I said, I'm going to lay that down twice. Now the ribbon that I brought in, it is not easy to work with. It is stiff. It would have been perfect for the banner. I should have used something else like maybe twine or whatever for the bow, or not the bow, or a knot or something there at the top, but I did fix it in the long run. And I ended up fixing a sentiment too in the long run, which is another story. Because I didn't do a sample or a protocol or anything like that, which this time it kind of blew up in my face. So, grabbing the circle stitch die cut from Changing Leaves. I'm going to cut that out, take it aside real quick, and run it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And I'm glad I'm doing this voiceover early this week because tonight I'm going to another concert. And so yeah, I won't be able to talk for a while. And you think I sound bad now, it's going to be even worse. I don't think I've recovered from a couple of weeks ago. Okay, so back to the card now. I am popping on that leaf from Changing Leaves, and I'm going to ink that up real quick with Cajun Craze. And you're not going to see that in, well, actually, I don't use that ink at all except for this here. So it's not in the supply list. The only thing Cajun Craze I am using is the Stampin' lens markers. So I pop that around there, and then I'm going to adhere that to a layering circles circle, and then get that put down with liquid adhesive. So I'm playing back in the card. That's kind of what we're looking like right now. And now I want to put down that leaf image there. And I cut a piece of very vanilla thick cardstock because I'm going to color them in with this Cajun Craze Stampin' blend markers. Like I said, that's cut to 5 by 5. And when you cut it square like that, pop the image down in the corner, rotate it around, and when you restamp it again, like I always do, it's going to lay down in the exact same spot, except this time I did not leave the image in the lid of my Stamparatus, and I have to end up winging it again. So I am taking my dark Cajun Craze marker, doing some really, really sloppy coloring. If I wanted to take the time to, hold on, see how that did not look right, like it wasn't blending together at all. And this is my like little coloring hack for you. Do the tip to tip. Take your light, pull off color from the dark, and you'll get your second color there to blend the light and the dark. Just in case you can't get a good color mix there, works like a charm every single time. I promise. That's how I get everything done. If it bleeds through the back, remember you're laying down alcohol ink here, so you want to use thick cardstock so it doesn't bleed. And I always lay down my original impression in water-based ink, craft, light gray, basic beige, something like that, because it doesn't smear with the alcohol. They're two different properties. When you have archival ink, memento, and you mix it together, it smears. For some people it does. Most people it does. I rarely get away with being able to use memento and then laying down black ink. I see people do it all the time. I'm just not one of them. So I'm going around that entire leaf and, just pulling the color together because you can do that with alcohol markers. And it looks like a hot mess now, really ugly, but it turns out great. And I'm going to show you how, because I'm doing that one image for you there, and then I'll color the rest off screen. But when I lay down that early espresso on top, rather than black, and I'm going to put it down twice, because you know how I like my lines to be all crisp up. And it's going to look beautiful. And do I lay it down twice? Yeah, I do. Maybe just to show off a little bit, I don't know. Oh yeah, I slowed it down to show you. And see, it works out and it turns out pretty. And once everything else gets die cut and colored, you'll see how beautiful that looks. And it really wasn't that hard to do. That tip to tip coloring though, very, very useful hack. This is what we are looking like so far, and I'm going to do my best to get it assembled with that hideous bow. And this is how tough, well, I might as well tell you how I tied it since I left it in here. It's burlap, so it's not the easiest stuff to work on. I mean, it's great for bag handles, wrapping presents, and stuff like that. But I did the bow, the bunny ears, and then pulling the tail through, all I did was twist it in the meantime and then wrapped it around there like that for some consistency, which bulked it up even more. Because, I mean, it's a hard ribbon to work with. However, that little banner ribbon strip I used, I'm good with that. Then that's why I decided the scale didn't work with the sentiment, as you can tell there. So I restamped it and die cut it out from a larger circle, layering circles die, and then got those other two leaves colored in and then die cut out. So now I'm going to put both of our panels onto the card base with seal. I did the designer series paper to the pecan pie with liquid adhesive, but I don't like stacking that up too much because then it gets stiff kind of and not stand upright. And I know I've explained this before, but just in case somebody new is here, I try to go over things, a little bit without sounding like a broken record. So now I'm kind of weighing everything out because I really want to get that. I was stuck on having that rope in there or just, some kind of ribbon or something down there for some reason. I don't know why, but that's how my brain works. Getting all those leaves down, my low tack tape, and keeping those together. And I know that I want to tuck that ribbon underneath that top leaf there, but I'm trying to find a way to get it in between those two leaves that you see me struggle with. And, that's just going to be kind of a disaster right there a little bit because that's how you wing it and, get your creative process going and everything like that. So you're going through it with me in real time. Unfortunately, I thought this was sped up a little bit, but it does work out okay. So I'm pulling the back of the tarot. Okay, now I'm done. Now I'm done. Now we can speed it up. I figured it out. I am putting black mini Stampin' Dimensionals at the top of the leaves, and I'm going to adhere them down in the center with glue. I do that a lot. Your image does not have to be on the same dimension. You make it work for you. And I think it adds even more dimension to cards and texture when you see that. So I'm doing the same thing with the second leaf there. And I'm going to hold that down real quick while I'm thinking about what to do with that burlap I finally figured out. So I'm going to pull the tear and tape off of that and then loop it over the back there in between those two leaves, trim it up a little bit, lay it down, make sure it's straight. And then I'm going to pop on that, the top leaf there. That is going on with, I'm looking at it as I'm doing this, liquid adhesive. So that stays down. And this is where I bring in the Moody Mauve to stamp that other leaf pattern on there. And these are actually pretty, they're great colors together. And I was surprised about that. And since it got all over my fingers, I'm going to take my little tweezer deal there, lay it down, set it up. Now I'm going to lay that hideous bow on top of it. But first, I'm going to put a Stampin' Dimensional right there where my right finger is, and then adhere the rest of the sentiment circle down with liquid adhesive. And I think I'm going to start to run out of that real quick as I'm adhering something. So that is going to go down, and then I'm going to put down the leaf with liquid adhesive. Grab my block back in to go ahead and get that set up, and then put that hideous bow on top of, well, where you saw in the pictures, because I'm going to end up pulling it back in here in a minute after I get that bow off. Not the bow, the tear and tape. And maybe I'll pull it back in a frame now. Yeah, see, I finally looked up, and I hated it right then and there. But like I said, I made it work out. It's okay because I tore it off. So for final assembly, I am figuring out if I want to put that down with Stampin' Dimensionals or liquid adhesive. This is where I run out of it. And I'm going to lay that down and then pop it on top of our other panel there. So we are in the home stretch here. I think that this is a good masculine card. If you don't like the design of it or anything, take the sketch of it away. And I'm going to keep talking about that bow. But I'm setting up the leaf here. This is how it looks when you stamp it and emboss it and die cut it at the same time. That great texture thrown in there with that peach pie leaf. So that is what our card is looking like. I'm going to bring in a cork dot left over from the spring catalog. One is still an odd number, so it's okay. And then we are done with this card. So I hope that you enjoyed today's video. don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Leave me a comment to let me know, what you want me to see do for you. I'm thinking about a technique next week. So again, I thank you for stopping by to see me today. That is where I fix the bow, and I will see you again next Saturday.